So hi, I'm Serapio. This is my first video. I've never done a video, but the artist I've chose to talk about was Barbara Kruger. So here we go. This is a photo of her, and what I thought was so great about her was that her path didn't take her straight to where she was at. Obviously, she detoured a little bit, but was still able to get back. So let's talk about a little bit about her. Well, she was born in 1945 in New Jersey. Her parents weren't wealthy. Her mom was a legal secretary, and her dad was a chemical technician. She was middle class. Now, most of America can relate to her. So, what's so great about this, it all comes back in her art when she talks about class and culture. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, she was accepted to Syracuse University, where her interest was piqued in graphic design. Now, I guess this is where it all started. Her love for graphics and then bringing them together. Not long after, she took a few courses there, and she moved on to the Parsons School of Design in New York City. Now, this is where her birth was born, I would believe, in pop culture. I love to call it pop culture. So this is where she met Diana Arbus. Arbus? I hope. I hope that's right. Yeah, I hope that's right. What's great about Diana is her images are some of like most compelling. Like she'll use disabled, she'll use images that most of us will like to look away from. And these kind of images are the stuff that you don't see very often. Now she used transvestites, that's what I forgot, mentally ill and the handicapped. Now, she was more of an influence because if we look at Barbara Kruger's images, they're kind of the same thing. The only difference is she uses multimedia messages and adds her own text to them, but it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek um, per se. Well, I'll show you a photo. I'm sorry. After leaving the Parsons School, she went to go work for publications. Now, she didn't last here very long. She was there, but of course, that was not her love. That wasn't her true calling, as I would believe. Like, you start off in one path and you move on to the next. So it was more of a stepping stone. And it's so funny that she was in magazines because later on, these same magazines are the same ones that she'll be making fun of their photos and be using them and then adding her own subtext to them. So it's kind of funny to be making fun of some of the same things. Her first break was from Maria Tucker? Yes, that's right. What was so great about Barbara's work was it was able to be showcased at the Whitney Beneno exhibit. Yes. And then in 1978, then when she published her book called Pictures, and Readings, it was a book of images, compelling images of rundown buildings, with narrative text involved. So this is where she started her images. Now let me show you an image. Okay, I love this one. Let's see if we can get that. It's gonna come off. And it says, "When I hear the word culture, I take out my checkbook." Now, anyone knows culture, if media tells you to go buy something, you're gonna go out and buy it. I have an iPhone, and that's media telling me every 8 months, 6 months, I need to go and get an upgrade. And I think it's so great how she was able to use something to grab the reader's attention. If we know from this photo, she used a ventriloquist. Well, the dummy has to be controlled by someone else, so obviously it's like someone else pulling the strings of the media or the public. And all she uses is just black and white Havana text, and it's just text over something. I think that's fantastic. I like the style, and therefore I wish if I could have a photo or something she'd done. I probably have it on my wall somewhere. Okay, and let's see here. In 1978, she self-published a book that would start her career on the path that she is now. She was already in the public eye, and of course, her photos like to explore social power, technology, death, and violence. And she would use multimedia, and she was a publication. So this is when I said earlier, it kind of comes in hand together. So I thought that was pretty cool. In the 1970s, she would leave photography altogether and start using those multimedia messages and just adding her pic, her Helen in a font, and just be creating these kind of images. Ooh, let's see if I can get that to come out great. Ooh, that's really good. She would use phrases to grab the reader's attention, and there's one phrase: "I shop, therefore I am," which is so good because she was a self-proclaimed feminist. Now, I think that's great. Like, women should be allowed to do whatever a man can do. Who says that a woman has to be at a certain what stature than a man can? I mean, expectations. It's just, yeah, and I think it's great that she's able to tackle it and show. There we go. There you go. You are beautiful. Ooh. I hope that comes out. Yeah, of course, that's another thing that media likes to do. We all have to look a certain way. Kardashians. And something great, her own influence is even showed in pop culture outside her photos. And this is Justin Timberlake's single from, I guess, it's Sexy Back. And there we see how it's been sampled. And before I even took the course, I had no idea who she was or her style. And I think it's so funny because, you know, I always knew Andy Warhol, and now I'm like, oh my god, like, how could I have not known her where I love the style? Now, talking about her text, instead of just having just a text and a photo, she actually does them together where it actually sends a message. Oh, oh, oh. Your body, support legal abortion, is a birth control battleground. Now, if anybody knows, this is a hot topic in politics, you know, women's rights. And I think it's great. You know, artists are always said, you know, showcase your work, showcase your stance. And I think this is a great way to get your image across. I mean, like, I have no problem. I fell in love with her work, and there's so many other images I wish I could show. There's another one right here. Surveillance is their busy work. And once again, this is the government. And this is why I think it's so great that she's allowed something, an image, a regular image, to be showcased and, you know, add some text to it and create this image, and then it's art. It really is art. And it's an art form that I believe doesn't get the recognition that it should, but I, for one, I am a fan of her work now. So I'm pleasantly surprised that I fell in love with the artist, and I've learned so much from her, and this will not be the last time I look for any information about her. So I'm on this few pictures that I have, but there was so much more that I wish I could showcase. I'm for one that likes to express, you know, I express my discontent. You know, I'm all over politics and, you know, with rights and stuff like that, and I think this is a great way to get younger people to realize the world out there instead of in their phones into the media. So it's one in one, and I think it's great. I mean, I wish we saw more of her work in, you know, museums, but you know what, that's something that needs to be worked on, and I, for one, know the truth of the artists, and, you know, some things take time to get used to and to get into popular culture. So this was my artist, and I pleasantly enjoyed everything I got to know and what I found about her. So, thank you.